All right, worship leaders, musicians, welcome. Today, we're going to break down a skill that will absolutely change the game for how you hear and play music together. It's called blueprint listening. And trust me, by the end of this, you are going to have a framework to lead your team with so much more clarity. Okay, let's jump right in. So let me ask you something, and I want you to be honest. Does your team really listen to each other? You know that feeling, right? You're in a service and something just feels off. The sound is kind of muddy, the instruments are stepping all over each other, and it just feels disorganized. Well, that's exactly the problem we are here to solve. And this slide pretty much says it all. Over on one side, you've got clashing. Instruments fighting for space, a sound that's actually distracting from worship. But on the other side, you have unified. That's where everything is blending perfectly and the congregation feels supported and led. Blueprint listening, that is the bridge that gets you from the chaos on the left to that powerful cohesion on the right. So what on earth is it? Well, think of it like this. Blueprint listening is the skill of breaking a song down into its most basic pieces. It's kind of like a builder reading a blueprint for a house. You don't just see a building, you see the walls. That's the song's structure. You see the individual rooms. Those are the parts for each instrument. And you see the furniture and the flow. That's the function and dynamics that bring the whole thing to life. And this right here, this gets to the very heart of it. This isn't just about hearing the notes. It's about understanding the why. Why is the bass playing that specific root note in the verse? Why does the keyboardist pull way back right there? Every single choice has a purpose, and a truly great team gets that. So why should you care? Well, there are three huge reasons. First, it prevents that musical clashing we just talked about. No more guitar and piano fighting for the same melody. Second, it keeps the band incredibly tight, creating this solid, unified sound that really serves the people. And third, it makes your rehearsals so much more effective because everyone actually knows what their job is. Okay, so that's the what and the why. Now for the fun part, the how. How do we actually do this? Let's get super practical. We're going to walk through a simple 6-step framework that you and your team can literally start using at your next rehearsal. Here it is. This is the whole game plan. Step 1, a full listen. Just absorb the song, no instruments. Then, step 2, map the structure. Find the intro, verse, chorus. From there, you zoom in on individual parts. Then you figure out the chords and harmony and mark the dynamics. Where does it get loud? Where does it get quiet? And the last step is to rehearse and compare what you're playing against that original recording. So let's see how this actually looks for each person on the team. So let's break this down. What does this look like for, say, a guitarist? Well, using that zoom-in step helps them figure out their function. They learn to ask the right questions like, hey, is this a moment for a big melodic fill, or should I be laying back with some ambient pads to create space? See? It's all about serving the song, not just playing cool licks. Okay, how about our keyboard players? With blueprint listening, you start to hear way beyond just the basic chords on a chart. You can spot things like chord inversions that add so much texture. Maybe you play a simple root position chord in the verse, but then you shift to a first inversion in the chorus to give the whole thing a lift. That's how you really start to shape the emotion of a song. Now for the powerhouse, our drummers. A drummer using this method isn't just keeping time, they're managing the energy of the entire room. They can hear the exact moment the pocket needs to change, shifting from a quiet, sparse verse to a driving, powerful chorus. They're listening to the song's structure and its dynamics, not just playing along to a click track. And this is huge for our vocalists. For you guys, it's about listening for those subtle breath marks in the original recording. Those are the cues that help a congregation sing along naturally. It's also about hearing when the main melody might shift from the sopranos to the altos, which is key to making sure your harmonies blend perfectly instead of clashing. Okay, enough theory. Let's talk about putting this into practice. This is where you move from just understanding the blueprint to actually building something powerful together as a team. Here are 3 super simple but crazy effective exercises. First, 1-part loop. You just loop the chorus, and each person sings or claps only their part. It tells you real fast who knows their role. Then there's chord detective, which gets your guitar and keys working together to map out the harmony. And dynamics map helps the whole team agree on the song's energy flow from start to finish. Now, I'm serious. I want you to actually pause this right now. Pick one of those exercises and promise yourself you'll try it at your very next rehearsal. Don't just let this be more information you take in. Apply it. That's where the real change happens. Because, you see, when you start doing this consistently, something much bigger starts to happen. This stops being just about becoming a better musician. It's about becoming an excellent worship leader, and it doesn't matter what instrument you play. And to help you make this a regular habit, here's a tool you can use. Think of it as a quick pre-flight checklist for every rehearsal. Before you even play a single note, make sure you've got these 5 things covered. This guarantees you're all working from the exact same blueprint every single time. And finally, just a couple of pro tips and one huge trap to avoid. First, record your rehearsals. Listening back is, well, it's very revealing. And always focus on the essentials, not the fancy studio stuff. The trap to avoid? Playing distracting fills. You've got to ask yourself, does this really serve the song and help people worship? Which really just brings us back to this. This is the whole point. At the end of the day, your job is to lead people into the presence of God. Blueprint listening is just a tool, but it's a powerful one that helps you do that with excellence and with humility because it puts the focus right where it belongs. So the takeaway is really this simple. Play with purpose. Lead with clarity. And the question I want to leave you with is this. Are you just playing notes? Or are you building a pathway for people to worship? And hey, we're not done. Once you've really mastered the what and why with blueprint listening, our next explainer is going to dive into expressive listening, which is all about how we move beyond the notes to actually communicate the spirit through our music. So definitely be on the lookout for that one. Look, if this was helpful for you, the absolute best thing you can do is share it with your entire worship team so you can all get on the same page. And of course, go ahead and like and subscribe so you don't miss that next session. We'll see you then.